Psychedelics and Group Mind, the CIA's Lost Experiments. Welcome back to Hive Mind, the dawn of telepathic humanity. I'm Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and today we go deeper into the shadows of history, the altered states of consciousness, and the weaponization of the soul. Because long before Silicon Valley branded neural syncing as innovation, long before neurotech startups promised emotional connection through headsets, there were other experiments, secret ones, psychedelic ones, and some of them were not about expanding the mind, but merging it. In this episode, we're exposing how psychedelics were used, not just to access the subconscious, but to probe the potential of a group mind, a collective brain, a hive. Let's start with the CIA, specifically with MK Ultra. While most people know the name, few realize how deep the rabbit hole goes. The MK Ultra project, launched in the 1950s, was a sprawling covert operation with one goal: control. The CIA wanted to know if the mind could be influenced, fractured, rebuilt, and linked. And psychedelics, especially LSD, were their golden key. On the surface, MK Ultra was about interrogation resistance, mind control, and creating obedient agents. But buried deeper in the declassified documents are reports of something stranger: trials where multiple subjects were dosed and placed in the same room, encouraged to feel each other's thoughts. The early goal was simple: see if minds under the influence of LSD would begin to behave in sync. What they found was unsettling. In some cases, subjects reported experiencing identical hallucinations. People who had never met began describing the same visions: spirals, doors, faces. One group, given isolated doses in separate rooms, later described an identical dream involving water, fire, and a glowing figure. Their heart rates synchronized, their speech patterns merged, their moods bled into one another. The official reports labeled this cooperative cognitive mirroring. But behind the scenes, some scientists believed they had stumbled onto something ancient, something previously dismissed as mysticism: a group mind. This was more than shared hallucination. It was psychic entanglement. And the military wanted to know, could this be used? Could a squad of soldiers, psychedelically linked, operate as one unit, feeling each other's fear, reacting without commands, executing missions without speech? Could a population be emotionally synchronized through psychoactive broadcasts, keeping them pacified, unified, controlled? The potential terrified even the researchers, and so much of it was buried. But the idea didn't die. It went underground, re-emerging decades later. Not in bunkers, but in boardrooms. Fast forward to today. In Silicon Valley, psychedelics are back in vogue, but not for spiritual awakening, for performance, creativity, connection. Microdosing LSD and psilocybin has become common among startup founders, coders, and tech visionaries. The goal isn't to escape, it's to tune in, to sync with teams, to dissolve hierarchy, to merge minds and accelerate innovation. Some startup retreats now include guided group dosing, followed by brainstorming sessions. Facilitators claim the shared chemical state lowers ego resistance, aligns emotional fields, and allows for collaborative intuition. In simple terms, they believe the psychedelic state allows them to think as one. They don't call it hive mind, but they should. Because whether in military labs or mountain Airbnbs, the theme is the same: dissolve the individual, elevate the collective. And if that doesn't alarm you, it should. Because in a world increasingly obsessed with optimization, anything that blurs the boundary of self becomes a tool for control. Psychedelics open the doors of perception. But when those doors lead to someone else's thoughts, desires, or intentions, whose journey are you really on? Let's ask a deeper question. Why do psychedelics open the possibility of group mind? Because these substances temporarily loosen the grip of the ego, the structure that keeps your experience yours. Under LSD, psilocybin, or DMT, the brain's default mode network quiets down. The illusion of separateness fades. You feel interconnected. Boundaries dissolve. And if you're in a room with others on the same frequency, the lines between you become thin. Emotions pass without words. Thoughts feel shared. Time sinks. This is often described as beautiful, sacred. But when combined with agenda, intention, or tech, it becomes programming. In some experimental circles, psychonauts have deliberately attempted to link through ritual dosing, facing one another, breathing in sync, merging brainwave rhythms, and attempting to think the same thought. Some report merging identities, losing track of who they are, whose emotion belongs to whom, even speaking in unison. One participant wrote, "I saw myself from outside my body, through his eyes, and I think he saw me too." That's not just trippy, that's dangerous. Because if your sense of self can be hijacked, chemically, energetically, or electronically, it's no longer fully yours. You've given up sovereignty, not through violence, but through vibration. And now, add tech to the mix. Imagine a future where psychedelics are paired with wearable EEG headsets, heart rate syncing apps, and AI-generated voice guidance. Imagine thousands of people, dosed, synced, and trained, plugged into a curated group experience that shapes not only their trip, but their values, memories, and beliefs. That's not therapy, that's indoctrination. This is already being tested. Some psychedelic retreats now use biometric tracking to guide group dosing. They promise optimized experiences. But beneath that is the risk of enforced synchronization. What if the goal is no longer healing, but aligning? And here's where it all connects back to the hive. Because psychedelics prove that the mind is porous, that it can merge, that individuality is not absolute. And once that's proven, the next question becomes, how do we control that merging? How do we guide the hive? How do we shape it? That's what MK Ultra wanted. That's what Silicon Valley wants now. So what do? We reclaim intention. Psychedelics are not inherently evil, but they are doors. And what you find on the other side depends on who's guiding you, who's syncing you, who's watching your heartbeat and coding your trance. These tools can heal, or they can hurt. We must protect the sacredness of the individual journey, the right to feel separate, the right to return from the edge with truth, not programming. We must reject groupthink disguised as unity. We must remember that the soul whispers, while the hive shouts. That true awakening is not about dissolving into others, but about seeing yourself clearly enough to choose connection, consciously. Let me leave you with this. The hive mind isn't coming. It was summoned. In military experiments, in psychedelic circles, in boardrooms, in labs. The only question now is whether it will be weaponized or revered. So before you sink, ask, is this healing or is this a hijack? Hi, I am Adeline Atlas, 11 times published author, and SOS, School of Soul has a brand new series, the AI and Future Technology series. Look, you know the world is changing, and no, it's not going back to normal. Normal is over, and what's coming next is beyond anything we were prepared for. The School of Soul, AI and Future Technology series includes 319 videos on 1. The Download Society, How Data Has Replaced Destiny. 2. Predictive Future. Your next moves aren't random, they're forecasted. 3. Social Credit Systems. The behavioral economy now governs access. 4. Hive Mind. Synthetic telepathy and collective algorithmic control. 5. Nanobots inside you. Medical, military, and programmable intrusions. 6. Grief Tech. AI-fueled digital resurrection and simulated comfort. 7. Uploading your mind, consciousness transfer, and data-based identity. 8. Deep fakes plus AI clones, the replication of reality and identity theft. 9. Quantum humans, the merger of biology with quantum systems. 10. Digital afterlife, where your data goes when you die. 11. Resurrection science, reviving life through synthetic methods. 12. Immortal science, the end of death as we know it. 13. Longevity science, gene editing, anti-aging, and bio-upgrades. 14. Designer babies, engineered perfection before birth. 15. Artificial wombs, birth decoupled from the female body. 16. 3D printing, printing organs, limbs, and even humans. 17. The humanoid era, the rise of synthetic beings among us. 18. Legacy humans, the slow phase-out of unmodified analog people. 19. Smart cities, algorithmic environments that watch and decide. 20. Cloud-based societies, citizenship without borders or bodies. 21. Hackable humans, emotion, memory, and behavior under code. 22. Biometric scanning, your body is your password and your prison. 23. Sex tech, intimacy reprogrammed by machines. 24. Extinction of gender, fluidity, deletion, and design of identity. Every topic is fully explored with real-world technologies, patents, case studies, ethical analysis, and future forecasts. These aren't someday discussions. This is already happening. Join the SOS School of Soul Vault to overstand the future before it's implemented on you.